Reporting live for Robstown Cotton Picker Baseball, I'm going to be here with none other than the new head coach of the Robstown Cotton Pickers baseball team. It is Coach Rusty Miller. Coach, welcome to Robstown. How do you feel?
I feel pretty good right now. It's been nice. I've been here about a week, and a lot of support from the community, a lot of support from the players have been showing up for our sport-specific workouts, and had a couple meetings and had a parent meeting. So it's been interesting, but it's been great. It's been definitely a baseball town for sure.
So, Coach, now what was your first reaction stepping on to Steve Gosler Field, knowing that now that you start up a new era, are in charge of this program now?
Well, definitely excitement. First thing I did was call Coach Vasquez and spoke to him, and he was great. Always been a great person to talk to, and I have a lot of respect for him. But just took a time to kind of walk around the other day and see what was going on and check the facilities and those types of things. And
you know, when you speak of the program, what strikes you about this program? Is it its rich history? Is it the fans? What strikes you that say, hey, that's Robstown baseball?
Well, I think it's both of those things. The fans have been very supportive, lots of phone calls. I think I've gotten more Facebook friend requests in the last 2 weeks than I've gotten in my entire life. So a lot of support. The big thing, though, and I said this to some people the other day, a lot of people in the community have been a part of this program for a long time. And we talk about the tradition. We talk about going to the state tournament or whatever it was, or First You Must Believe, or the R on the hat, or there's all these little things that are part of the big picture. But I think the tradition is winning. In the end, the tradition itself is modeled around winning the game and being successful, and that's the tradition we want to keep. We want to win on the field. We want to win off the field. We want to be the best version of ourselves. We want to be the best version of Robstown that we can be, and make sure that we're winning not only on the field but in the classroom and as human beings and in the community.
Now, you speak of the winning tradition here in Robstown. This is going to be your first attempt here, the Robstown-Cal Allen rivalry, and of course the Robstown-Toloso Midway rivalry, which is big here in South Texas. What is your thought process going into such tough competition with the likes of, the coach of Toloso Midway, and then of course the coach Chapman of Cal Allen?
Well, and the one way I would answer that is every school that I've been at, whether it was when I coached at Southeastern Louisiana University, our rivalry with Nichols, or when I was at Copiah Lincoln Community College, our rivalry with Pearl River. I mean, there's always those schools, right? And no matter where you are. And I'm going to tell you, like, a Bankhead Bishop game is pretty intense, and so I'm excited about that. I want to compete against those guys. I want our players to compete against them. Excited that we're in a district that we can do that, because in the end, winning a district championship is great. But just look at Cal Allen this year. They finished second in the district. And they go all the way to the state finals. So it's putting yourself in a position that over the course of the season you can be successful from beginning to end. Because I love the district championship. I love competing throughout the playoffs. But in the end, if you win the state tournament, nobody really cares where you finished in district. But we want to compete against those teams because that helps us in the second, third, fourth rounds to have had the experience against great programs.
Speaking of great programs, what do you think about the current playoff system? Do you think it's best to go 3 games? Do you think it's a 1-game elimination? I mean, what is your thought process when it comes to now this division here in 4A, going in District 31 4A, hopefully representing Region 4 in the state finals, but what's your thought process about playoffs?
Well, for me, I have never flipped anybody for a 1-gamer. And I've had, God rest his soul, some pretty good pitchers, Anthony Gomez, for example, and some other kids that have been pretty good for me in the past. And I've never flipped for 1 game. I think it's better for your program to play a series. I think overall, if you're looking at building a program that can be successful for the long haul, you want your kids in the dugout as much as possible playing against quality competition. So I have always been a 3-game guy, best of 3 series, and I think that's a pretty good way to build your program. But at the same time, if we've got a good opportunity and we've got an arm that can do it, because it's all based off of pitching. People flip you for 1 game, not because you can hit, but because of pitching. And we want to make sure we put a pitcher out there that can handle that environment. And the way you build that is through series.
Well, I couldn't agree with you more. I think 1-game playoffs, there's a bit of the Russian roulette with a fully loaded gun when it comes to 1-game playoffs. But, going forward, and you see this field here, what additions do you want to make? Do you want to make any significant improvements or any type of new lighting or new sound system? What's your plans going forward as far as Steve Gosler Field?
Yes. Well, as far as the field goes, to be honest with you, I haven't even gotten to look at the press box or the sound system or anything like that. But we have one shed behind the building here that was damaged last year. Or within the last year from some rain and stuff. We've already fixed that. We've already cleaned it out, swept it out. It's ready to go. We started putting new stuff in there and organizing our equipment a little bit better. So that's a little thing to have a better quality practice. We could use some paint jobs. I would say if you told me to pick one thing right now, it's like, hey, what could you do out here at the field? I'd love to cover our cages. I'd love to cover our batting cages and our pitching area. If we can cover those with a roof, then a little bit of rain here and there is not going to bother us. We can still get down there and throw our bullpens. We can still work in the cages. So that's something that I think a lot of teams are doing. Gives you the opportunity, even though it is turf and you're not going to get rained out, probably not. That does give you the opportunity to continue a quality practice if we have a covered batting cage. So that would be my first thing.
Now, take us through your thought process the night of the board meeting and you saw the final vote 4-2. What was the first thing that went through your mind with your wife by your side?
I would probably say we were sitting there and we kind of had a pretty good idea what was going to happen, and I believe in prayer and I believe in following Jesus Christ, and I do believe that if it had gone the other way, that I was going to find a place for me. However, this is the place that I wanted to be, and I understand that board members and community members may have an idea about me, but I would just say this: give me a chance. Let me have the opportunity to lead your kids, and you'll be happy.
Well, speak upon that. As you know, we have a very loyal fan base here in Robstown, and not to mention so many other fans and alumni across the nation and indeed around the world. And what is the one message that you want to take to the fans of Robstown, the Robstown 10th player? What's the message here from Coach Rusty Miller, who's now taking over this historic program?
Well, I was saving this for my parent meeting. However, there's a lot of things. I told some people the other day that my goal each and every year has been the same since I started coaching high school baseball. I have 3 goals every year. Goal number 1 is to win at least 25 games. Goal number 2 is to go to at least the 3rd round. 3rd round or better every year. And goal number 3 is to every one of our kids, whoever dresses for varsity, accomplishes academic all-district. So those are the 3 things that we're going to focus on the most. Academic all-district for every single kid, 25 wins or more, and 3rd round or more each and every year. We want to be consistent. To be consistent, we need our fan base to be consistent. So I know that they're going to show up. I know that they're going to be here, and I know that they're going to want us to put a productive team on the field. We want to do that. We want to put a productive team in the classroom. We want to put a productive team on the field. We want to put a quality program for our community. My message to the community would be, give us a chance, stand beside us, stand there each and every step of the way, and we'll all do it together.
Well, very well said message indeed, sir. Tell us, you've also hinted about your faith. How big is important is your faith leading a program such as Robstown, especially with the phrase "First you must believe." What does that mean to you as a man of faith, as a coach of faith?
And first, let me say this. We all fall short. We all fall short in our walk. For me, as a baseball coach, I want to build quality men, because I feel like if we're building the type of young men that this world needs, we will accomplish things on the field. We will accomplish things off the field. I believe that the world is falling short of fathers right now, and we need good quality men to be fathers. So for me, it's the why versus the what. I am a baseball coach. It's what I do. But I don't do it to win games. I do it to build men, because I think the result of building quality men is winning baseball games, making good fathers, and good community members. So my faith is grounded in Jesus Christ and Him understanding that I screw up a lot. And I'm going to be there with our kids because they're going to mess up. And I'm going to give them opportunities to grow and give them opportunities to compete at a high level for the right reasons.
Very well said indeed, sir. Now, moving forward, what type of tournaments you hope to secure for the Robstown Cottonpickers this season? Because traditionally, as you may or may not know, it's the Myers tournament some years, the Cal Allen tournament for sure. Anything new or bold, I should say, that you're going to be trying to do for tournament-wise for the Robstown Cottonpickers this season?
Well, the first thing we want to do is we want to host as much as we can. A lot of people, I've already finished about 75% of the schedule, and most of the teams that I've spoken to want to come here. They want to come play us here. We'll just come there. We'll come there, And so we've got a pretty full schedule. I'm still waiting on some confirmations from some teams. First week, we will be the first tournament we're playing in. If I had changed it, I thought, but we went back to Sinton. We're going to go to Sinton. I spoke to Coach Alanese, and we did that tournament last year. I looked at some changes and doing some things a little different. But even when I took this job, a lot of coaches had already kind of cemented themselves into some tournaments. The second week, Cal Allen wants to use our field again, so we will host then. So that'll give us a chance to play 5 games on our field. So that's the same 2 tournaments as last year. Week 3 is what I'm working on right now. I have spoken to Victoria again about going to Victoria ISD. One thing that I'm kind of different about is I don't want to go run into somebody that we're going to play during the year. So I don't want to play in a tournament that TM plays in or a tournament that Zapata plays in. They're in our district. I don't want to play those. I want to play those guys during a district game. And so I have some friends. A good friend of mine at China Spring has invited us to a tournament. He and I have known each other for a long time, and he's a great coach. But he does it over spring break, so that's a little bit different. That's not during the traditional first 3 weeks. So I'm looking into that and some changes. Right now we are booked to just go back to Victoria, but I do want our kids to do an overnight trip. I think that's important. That's a great experience for them. One thing we are going to do is we will host a JV tournament. We will host a 7th grade tournament, and we will host an 8th grade tournament. All of our kids will have the opportunity to play here in a tournament. 7th and 8th grade, I've kind of organized the schedule for our district the last 4, 5, 6 years. So I've already spoken to them about getting our junior high kids not a more demanding schedule, but a full schedule. And so right now that's kind of where I'm at. It's a little early. A little late to try and change. So we're going to keep some of the stuff that we've had, but China Spring's awfully enticing. I would like to try and do that if we can do it in the future.
Well, historically speaking, the Robstown program has always tried to go to East Texas, past Victoria. A couple of years in a row, we used to go to the Brenham tournament in Brenham, Texas. Although, to recent memory, we've never actually tried the China Springs tournament, so that'll be very interesting indeed. With your family.
An interesting thing that you brought up, Brenham, the coach at Brenham played for me. He was one of my former players. Chase Wheaton was one of my former players at A&M Corpus Christi. So I did think about that also, about communicating with him at Brenham, because that would be a good place to go. I don't know if they still host a week 3 because he had changed it up a couple years ago. But Brenham's definitely a possibility.
Well, definitely exciting to hear all of the changes and updates and news and everything else. And speaking of changes and everything else, what was your family's reaction when you decided, hey, I want to take a shot at the Robstown Cotton Pickers baseball job? What was their reaction, and can you speak a little bit about that?
Well, with all the craziness that went on, and everybody has seen the craziness, but with all the craziness that was going on, my wife and I sat down and prayed about it and spoke to my daughter. Graduated already. She's going to college, so she's like, do whatever you want. But my son is going to be an 8th grader, and the cool thing about him right now is he has competed against and played with a lot of our 7th, 8th, and 9th graders that are in Robstown already. So he's been playing with those guys since he was little. So he was excited about it. He was excited about coming over here and doing those things. And I think the thing he was most excited about is he doesn't have to pump water off the field anymore, because he won't have to do that, because he's been doing that since he was probably in the 2nd grade. But he was excited about the limited amount of field work for him. But it was exciting. We prayed about it and just said, look, this is what we're going to do, and if this is where God wants us to be, then and that's where we'll end up. And we had some other opportunities, but this was the place that we really wanted to be.
Well, Coach Rusty Miller, the final question here. Do you have any opportunity to look at the uniforms, the caps? What's your position on the uniforms? You're trying to get some upgrades, or what do you think?
Well, obviously we have the Under Armour contract, so we have. That's what I've been doing for the last 2 weeks. We've been inside organizing, washing, cleaning, taking inventory, those types of things. My poor wife has been sweeping and scrubbing and wiping off and spot cleaning uniforms for a week, and my son and one of his friends helped us to organize and those types of things. But we'll be pretty consistent. We'll be pretty consistent with what we've had in the past. I had an old coach friend of mine one time, and when I was first growing up, he said, when you take a new job, he said, win first, redecorate second. And that's just always stuck with me. And it was a funny story, and he was an older guy, and I told him, I was like, well, you got to make your mark as fast as you can. So we got some exciting news coming about the locker room before long. So I'll keep you posted about that. But we want to give our kids the opportunity to put a uniform on, have a field, have a locker room, have a facility. Everything that they do needs to be top of the line. One of the comments that was made at the board meeting was, we want our kids the opportunity to go play college baseball. Well, in my last school, we had 21 in 10 years that had a chance to go play college baseball. And we're going to do that. But one of the ways that you do that is not just on the field, but how you handle your environment. And if you feel good, you play good. And if you play good, you win. It's pretty simple. And so we want to put our kids in quality uniforms on a quality field with a quality opportunity to be successful. And then that way, when they go to colleges and they have those opportunities, they're used to it, and they can thrive in that environment.
Well, Coach Rusty Miller, thank you so much for joining us on this exclusive interview here on the Robstown Baseball Facebook page. We do look forward to the season for your first debut here at Steve Kostler Field. Do you have an idea as to who the first team of non-district play would be here at Steve Kostler Field?
Well, of course, yes. We're doing all our scrimmages will be here. That's most of the teams are like, no, we'll just come scrimmage there. You don't have to come to our field. We do have already booked Victoria East, and we've already booked Beeville 100%. Victoria East should be the first game. However, I want to play at Whataburger Field, so we're going to wait on Whataburger Field, because if we have the opportunity to go play there, that is an environment that we want to be in as often as possible, because just like the teams that went to the state tournament, they wanted to go play there. That Whataburger wants to host teams late in so we want to play there, so that when we have the opportunity to play there in the playoffs, we've been there before. And so we may play here the first game. If Whataburger Field gives us the opportunity, we'll play there. However, we may go to Victoria and then play them a later week at Victoria. We're going to work it out. But that is a number one priority for me. We should play at Whataburger Field at least once every year just to give our fans and our kids the opportunity to do that so that when we have a chance to do it in the playoffs, we're used to it.
Well, thank you very much, Coach Rusty Miller. I'm Aaron Enriquez giving you exclusive coverage of the first ever interview with the new head coach, Rusty Miller. Welcome to Robstown, sir. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. I appreciate it.